Hi, my name is Cynthia Wade. I'm the founder and managing director at DoOver.me. If you're looking for Gina Hester, I'm very sorry to tell you that she's not able to be with us today. Talking about Staffing 101 and getting a job now. For those of you who don't know, DoOver.me, which is the not-for-profit that I founded 6.5 years ago, is dedicated to providing proven, practical, and professional support on a sliding scale virtually across the country to anyone who's searching for meaningful employment. In our world here at DoOver.me, meaningful employment means a job that pays the bills and feeds your soul. And right now, that can be for people that are out of work, underemployed, or unhappily employed, which is, boy, a whole heck of a lot of people. It was hard to get a job back in January. With COVID, it hasn't gotten any easier. But I'm here to tell you that it can be done. DoOver.me has put together a team of professionals, people who have experience in job search, in executive recruitment, in staffing, in marketing, in all things about resumes, LinkedIn profiles, interviewing tips and techniques, networking tips and techniques. We're here to help you. And because we're a not-for-profit that believes in leveling the playing field, we're offering these services on a sliding scale. Take time to check out our website. It's just doover.me, DOOVER.me, and look at all the things that we have available for you. Look at our success stories. And let me tell you about two that I talked to today. We have people that are joining the tribe every day and people that are in various different parts of the process of looking for a job who we're interacting with on a daily basis. There are people going on virtual interviews. There's even people still doing face-to-face on-site interviews in today's world. And even that is a little bit different than anything you've ever had to think about before. Wherever you're at in the process, we can help you because there are jobs available and you can work effectively to find those jobs, put yourself in a competitive position, and get hired for those jobs. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the jobs and where to find them. So, a couple things I want to share with you to start off. Where do you find jobs? Well, everybody knows that the top place to look for a job is either LinkedIn, if you're a professional, or Indeed, for those professionals and maybe hourly wage workers. Unfortunately, LinkedIn at this moment in time doesn't have as many hourly wage positions listed on it. That can be changing in the future, so we have to pay attention. But right now, you have to be familiar with both LinkedIn and Indeed. They're very similar, and we give coaching and tutorials on using both. So that's where you're going to go. You're going to want to be signed up and have an account. Both are free in either LinkedIn and Indeed or one or the other. I don't personally recommend more than that unless maybe you're in a specific field that has an association that has a job board. then maybe you could add a third one that's specific to your field. But otherwise, when you get more than two, you're probably going to start to feel somewhat overwhelmed with all of the information that you're going to be getting. So you're better off learning two and learning how to use them and engage with them really well than having multiple ones and feeling overwhelmed and not engaging with any of them very successfully. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, what do you look for? Well, obviously, if you have a particular skill set or a career path, you're going to look for jobs that have titles that you're used to having or that you aspire to. That's the most obvious place. But also, don't overlook anything that's COVID related. COVID has changed our world in so many different ways. So the reality is that regardless of what your area of specialization is, you're going to want to look for any jobs that are available right now that are COVID related, because those are the jobs that are most likely going to be hiring right now. And especially if you're one of those unemployed, underemployed, unhappily employed people that are on the unemployed part of it, that equation, you're going to want to get a job sooner rather than later. And the reality is, you can always keep looking. Just because you say yes and you take a job, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stop looking for other opportunities that are maybe a better fit for you and for what your strengths are. So anything that is COVID related, put that in your search string. COVID jobs, jobs because of COVID, so that you get notified of all of those different opportunities. The other thing, that's anything transportation related. You know, the logistics supply chain world has always been big, and it was getting bigger and bigger even before COVID. And now COVID has just accelerated that. I heard on the news yesterday that Amazon is hiring 100,000 people that they're going to add to their staff across the country to gear up for what they anticipate is going to be the busiest holiday season ever. So that was probably in their plan even before COVID hit. And now with COVID, you think that there's going to be a lot of people out there face to face in the shopping centers? Not as many as there have been in the past, that's for sure. And that's why transportation, supply chain, and logistics, anything that involves a warehouse full of product and getting that product from one place to another, those jobs are happening right now. So make sure that, again, whether you're on LinkedIn or you're on Indeed, when you put together your Boolean search strings for the right kinds of jobs for you, that you're including jobs that are using the word transportation, okay, or supply chain or logistics. The other thing is anything that requires face-to-face contact. Now, again, what your education is in, what your experience is in, where your strengths lie, that's all going to influence the kind of industries that you're looking at. But generally speaking, in this environment right now, there are always going to be jobs available that have to be done face to face. You know, when you think about a doctor, for example, they're even doing doctor appointments virtually, right? But what can't you do virtually? Plumbing. You know, if you've got a problem in your house, you can't work with a plumber virtually. You've got to have that plumber come to your house. So anything that is on site that requires that face to face contact. So any one of the trades, whether it's building, construction, concrete, electricity, anything like that, you know, and it's not just if you're a carpenter or if you're an electrician, but all of those companies need people to answer the phones, people to do accounts payable and receivable, people to do customer service and support. Depending upon their size, they can have fairly large staffs. And those are the companies that haven't been impacted enough negatively by COVID to necessarily have to scale back their hiring. So those are a couple of things that are available right now. Anything that's COVID related, anything that's transportation, supply chain, or logistically related, or anything that requires a face-to-face with you and the end buyer. Those are the places to look for jobs right now. For example, the other thing I heard on the news, City of Chicago, which is where I live, I think they're hiring, I can't remember, I want to say 1,500 contact tracers here in the city of Chicago. That's a great opportunity for a lot of people that have any kind of a customer sales and service background. You don't necessarily need to have a medical background. And in those situations, they're offering you the training too. Now that you know where to look for the jobs, Indeed and LinkedIn primarily, and you know what kind of jobs to look for, COVID related, transportation, or anything requiring face to face, then you want to know what do you have to do in order to stand out from the competition. So this is where we start to talk about your marketing materials. And in our world, when we talk about your marketing materials, we're talking about your business card, your resume, and your LinkedIn profile. So yes, everybody should have a business card. It's like the old-fashioned 1800s calling cards. I don't know why they ever went out of style, but you should have a calling card, because whenever you're in a situation where you want to extend information to somebody, you should have a professional way of doing that. It's ridiculously cheap to get one made on Vistaprint. All it has to have is your name, your contact information, and a little bit of information about what value you bring to the situation, who you are, what you do. The next thing is your resume. Couple of tips to make sure that your resume is updated and strong. Number one, make sure that your email is a professional email. Google is preferred. And make sure that you have a cell phone number. Don't even bother to list your home phone number, just your cell phone number. And then please, please, please make sure that the message on the answering service part of your cell phone is polite and professional. And make sure you clean out that mailbox. Oh my gosh, if you knew how frustrating it is for a recruiter to place a call and have it said, I'm sorry, this mailbox is no longer accepting responses because it is full. You just want to tear your hair out. There's no reason for that. So make sure that your message is professional and that you're clearing out your mailbox so that people can leave you a message. The second thing on your resume, make sure you have a value added statement at the top. Years ago, 8 years ago, they used to call that an objective. And it was really about what you wanted. Well, the reality is the company doesn't care what you want. This process is about what they want. And so that is now called a value added statement. And it's about what you're bringing to the table. It's about where your strengths lie and how you are going to contribute and make the biggest difference to them. The third thing on your resume, car statements. If you have car statements on your resume, I guarantee that your resume will stand out amongst the competition, because a lot of people don't even know what car statements are. So again, in our world at DoOver.me, a car statement is something that talks about a challenge that you were given, an action that you took in response to that challenge, and then the results of your actions. And let's make sure that whenever possible, it contains numbers, because that's what gives it real value and validity. Now, where should those car statements be? If you want your resume to be noticed and responded to, All the most important information should be on the top half of the first page. Your resume doesn't have to be one page necessarily. One sheet of paper printed on both sides, yes. But one piece of paper, no. I mean, one side of one piece of paper, no. But what you do have to do is make sure that your car statements are listed at the very top underneath your contact information, your value statement, and then you're going to put a section that's called career achievements. And that's where you're going to put your car statements. Don't put them necessarily with their appropriate jobs and have them buried either on the second page or just in the body copy. You want them to stand out. So again, when you're trying to make sure that those people know you're the right one to call to make yourself most competitive, have a business card in case you need it, and make sure your resume has a strong professional email, your cell phone number has a great response to it, an answer to it, and is not filled. You have a value statement, and you have car statements. And last, if you're in a profession that uses LinkedIn, most do, but not all. Like some of the construction trades don't necessarily use LinkedIn. But make sure that if you're in an industry that does, or if you want to increase your exposure, that you have a LinkedIn profile. And just a couple things that I want to tell you about LinkedIn. Number one, again, what do you want them to know about you? How do you make your LinkedIn profile as strong as possible to attract somebody else's attention? Make sure that you have those car statements in there. The second thing is there's a setting on LinkedIn where you can follow companies that you're interested in. So, for example, everybody now should be following Amazon and UPS and any of the other big trucking companies. I'm losing the words right now, but anybody that's in a transportation or logistics role, regardless of where you live, you want to be following those companies. Walmart would be another one, because those are all companies that are going to have those kinds of jobs that I was talking about in transportation, supply chain, and logistics. So you want to follow those companies. And then you want to make sure on your LinkedIn profile that the setting is set so that your profile and your resume go directly to the companies that you're following if in fact they have an opening. It's a setting that is in the back end of LinkedIn that not everybody knows about. You want to, of course, always make sure that your resume is uploaded, but you also want to make sure that it's available to the HR departments of those companies that you're following. And LinkedIn will do all that for you. That's one of the things that LinkedIn offers that Indeed does not offer. And the second thing that I'm going to tell you about LinkedIn, it's not just enough to have a profile on LinkedIn. You have to engage with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like a big, giant cocktail party. And you need to have a plan for how to work that cocktail party. Virtual, just got to have a different kind of virtual plan. That's all. Because the idea with LinkedIn is to get to know people and to have them get to know you. And there are specific ways that you can do that. So again, I would encourage you, if any of those things sound interesting to you that we've talked about today, where to apply for the jobs, where to find the jobs, what kind of jobs to be looking for, resume tips and LinkedIn tips, spend some time on the doover.me website. Just doover, DO-OVER.me, and check out all of the free resources that we have available there on Facebook and here on YouTube. We record presentations on a weekly basis. They're free and they're packed with really good information. So make sure you spend some time there. If you have further questions, pick up the phone and call me. I love to meet new people and find out what it's like to be you. You can reach me at 630-402-0429. And if that doesn't work for you, send me an email. Cynthia, Cynthia, at dover.me, DO-OVER.me. So that's what we've got for you this Tuesday afternoon on Staffing 101. I'm sorry that Gina wasn't able to be here with us today, but she will be back with us next month. So check out our calendar for October, which will be finalized within the next day or so, and find out when we're going to be bringing you more staffing tips on Staffing 101. Thanks a lot and make it a great day.